Hi guys, Harry here, and welcome to my overview of Doctor Who Redacted. Obviously, Doctor Who Redacted is the new podcast, and I have done breakdowns on all past Doctor Who Redacted episodes. So if you haven't watched those, check them out. But this video is going to be an overview of Doctor Who Redacted as a whole series. But before we get into the episode, don't forget to subscribe. Also, leave a like and comment down below, and let's get into the video. So, Doctor Who Redacted follows three girls, the main characters, which are Abby, Shauna, and especially Cleo, where they make a podcast about a blue box called the Blue Box Files, where they track down sightings of the blue box throughout history and go through the chaos that has been unfolding when the blue box is there, like Adipose Industries and also the Royal Hope Hospital that went to the moon apparently, and also what the mystery of the stone statues in Wester Dremlins, obviously all past things that have happened in Doctor Who, where the blue box has been seen, but also, of course, what has happened, because there's been just crazy stuff happening there. But the main plot of the Doctor Who Redacted series is that people start disappearing, so they're being redacted, which is where the name comes from. And Cleo's brother Jordan is also a character in this. However, he disappears quite early in the series, again, kind of forcing the main characters into investigating what has happened with all these people disappearing. And the more they look into it, the more they find out that people are disappearing. And this brings them into the main thing of this series. So as the girls start to investigate what's happened, they come across many characters in the Doctor Who universe that we have seen before. They come across in the first couple of episodes Rani Chandra, who is of course from the Sarah Jane Adventures. She was the girl across the road from Sarah Jane, and she took over Maria Jackson's kind of role when she left the series, and Rani came, I think, in series 3 and was one of the side characters in the Sarah Jane Adventures. And also in episode 6, they come across Kate Stewart, of course the Chief Scientific Officer of UNIT, who we have seen many times before, the head of UNIT, and was the daughter of the Brigadier, obviously, who was the head of UNIT. And also in the episode after that, we meet Petronella Osgood, of course. In this one, she is normally like Kate Stewart's right-hand woman, but in this one, she takes over the role of Kate Stewart because Kate Stewart has been redacted, and I guess it just transfers. She always thinks she has been Chief Scientific Officer of UNIT. And then in Requiem, which I think is episode 8, we see Madame Vastra. Of course, it's not revealed that she's Madame Vastra at the start, but we see her in the final 2 episodes that Madame Vastra is Requiem, and of course Madame Vastra is a member of the Paternoster Gang, a fixture with the 11th and 12th Doctors, who of course helped the Doctor when he was mourning over the loss of Amy and Rory. And eventually, again, we see the 13th Doctor, so it's just great to see all these badass characters show up in this one show. And fortunately, it isn't like the Christmas Invasion. So, of course, the Christmas Invasion is the first episode of David Tennant's era. And the problem I have with the Christmas Invasion is, it's not that it's a bad episode. I really like that episode. But it makes it so the Doctor is just too powerful. So he's sleeping like almost the whole episode, wakes up 10 minutes before the end, and proceeds to just destroy the Sycorax. He's too... I mean, there was really no need to have an episode like that. I mean, it just makes the Doctor seem a bit like a god. unfortunately, in this, the Doctor isn't the one really to save the day. Of course, she provides a lot into it, but it is really up to Cleo to tell the Doctor how to save the day, so it doesn't make the characters in this almost unimportant when the Doctor turns up. They are still vital to the way that the day is saved in this series. However, speaking of the Christmas invasion, this leads into the point of why Cleo doesn't get redacted. So in the series, a lot of people get redacted. Even Madame Vastra, Abby, and Shauna eventually get redacted, and Cleo doesn't until the ghosts start to attack her. But the reason she doesn't get redacted is because there was some trauma in the past connected with the Doctor, which is the 10th Doctor saved her when her dad unfortunately died from the red hatching, but the Doctor managed to stop the red hatching and save Cleo. And this is a problem because in this podcast, in this spin-off, all the main characters were female, except the floater, but he's like a psychic alien fetus baby thing, so he doesn't really count as a traditional male as we know, and he only comes up in like the last final episodes, whereas even though the Doctor only appears in the last episode, the Doctor is featured all throughout this series. It is all about the Doctor, and making it not the 13th Doctor as the main Doctor, making it the 10th Doctor is not good, because the 10th Doctor is the most popular Doctor probably of all time, and he is returning for the 60th anniversary. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, that's because viewing figures have dropped. And all the expanded Doctor Who media, which, don't get me wrong, I have loved listening to some audio dramas and also reading some books about in the expanded media. And most of the expanded media is mainly about the 10th Doctor. So why bring the 10th Doctor in to something where he doesn't need more expanded media? He doesn't need more time in the spotlight. I know we're getting him returning, but it could be a different version of the 10th Doctor. It's just so weird. And again, leading into why it's a problem is because Doctor Who Redacted felt like they wanted to go super progressive, especially if you take a look at the main characters. All three of them are women. The whole of the main cast is basically women, and also Abby is bisexual, Shauna is a lesbian, and Cleo is trans. So yeah, that is great. But then it's almost like they thought, did they go too progressive? As the Doctor that saved Cleo was the 10th Doctor, which is like a compromise that satisfied no one. As people that only watched the male Doctors, so that they stopped watching once Jodie became the Doctor, wouldn't be listening to this show, as it was revealed that it was an all-female cast. So they won't know that David Tennant is in there, meaning that they won't listen to the podcast. And the people that wanted to see an all-female cast, like trans people that felt supported, as the head writer, Juno Dawson, is trans, and the main character, Cleo, is trans, won't like that the most important Doctor isn't the 13th, but the 10th. The only people that are okay with this are people like me, people that are actual Doctor Who fans that have watched every version of the Doctor since they started watching Doctor Who, and this is amazing for Doctor Who fans as the references are insanely accurate. And speaking of the references, they're just amazing. There are references to Penny Carter, who is a one-time character from Partners in Crime back in 2008. And she had a job as a journalist for The Observer, and she was part of Adipose, of course, who the girls start interviewing about. There was something about Adipose Industries, but one-time character from back in 2008. Also, Dr. Dr. Oliver Morgenstein was one of the characters that they interviewed, and he's from Smith and Jones back in 2007, and he also did appear in Turn Left back in 2008. So it's insane that he's back as well. And my personal favourite, Larry Nightingale from Blink back in 2007, and he did appear again in the Lonely Assassins video game in 2021. But it is insane that they are quite minor characters, that like they were not the main character of this episode. They weren't the Doctor's companion or related in any way, but they returned, and it's just so insane with their references. It's really good. And aside from hearing those main characters like Penny Carter, Dr. Oliver Morgenstein, and Larry Nightingale, we also get name drops of characters in the Doctor Who universe. Like Rani name drops Luke and Clyde, which again, of course, were her friends from the Sarah Jane Adventures. Of course, the Sarah Jane Adventures ran from 2007 to 2011, and they last appeared with Rani in Farewell Sarah Jane in 2020, which was like a kind of send-off to the Sarah Jane character, and of course Elizabeth Sladen, who unfortunately passed away. And also Rani also name drops Martha Jones, the companion of the 10th Doctor, last seen in The End of Time Part 2, where the Doctor went to see all his past companions. This is not counting a hologram picture, even though Rani appears in this episode as a hologram, which she did appear in the 11th Doctor, but it was just a picture of her. Also, Jo is mentioned, of course, Jo Grant, a companion to the 3rd Doctor, which Rani and Clyde encountered in the Sarah Jane Adventures episode, The Death of the Doctor. So it's just insane to see all these characters are referenced in Doctor Who. I mean, again, the callbacks are insane. And also, speaking of callbacks, it's not just referencing characters or having characters return in this. It is also just things that have happened in the episode. Like when Cleo gets her memories back of the 10th Doctor saving her, it follows the end of Blink, with the Doctor saving her with a bow and arrow that we saw him carrying at the end of Blink to stop the red hatching, which he stopped whilst he was saving Cleo. And Doctor Who Redacted has so much continuity and references, it's almost better than the show itself at keeping its continuity. I mean, thank you, Chris Chibnall, for creating The Timeless Child. I mean, Doctor Who Redacted is, like, better than the show. And again, another good thing from the Doctor Who show, they have added more adventures, which makes the Doctor Who universe seem bigger and more real, because their adventures don't stop just because the episode has ended or the series has ended, because the 13th Doctor has gone to this place because she heard there was life there. So it's known that there are adventures outside of just what we see in the TV show, which I think is great as it makes the universe seem more real. But if you want more in-depth breakdowns of the past Doctor Who Redacted episodes and all the hidden references in there, go and check out my past videos. I've done breakdowns on all the Doctor Who Redacted episodes. However, Doctor Who Redacted does leave some loose threads. Like, where is Madame Vastra now? She's given float to Cleo, but that doesn't explain where she is. I mean, she's lived from the Victoria era to the present day. So where does her story go from there? She hasn't got Strax anymore, and she hasn't got Jenny anymore, and we've just seen her just come from Victorian era to the present day. But it was hinted that she lived through all of that. So I would like to see it. Also, why was UNIT up and running when it was revealed in Resolution in 2019 to have been disbanded, and revealed that it was still disbanded at the end of the Flux in 2021, but that was kind of weird from like a 2017 timeline. So was it rebuilt in like 2021 or 2020? I mean, it was kind of like there wasn't many UNIT officers there, so was it like more of like just a ragtag group of UNIT? But it's still weird that it is up and running. Also, where was Torchwood? Because after the hub of Torchwood got destroyed in Children of Earth back in 2009, we haven't seen Torchwood since Miracle Day in 2011. But it was revealed in expanded media that Torchwood was rebuilt by Gwen Cooper in 2017, so I presume that was the hub as well, and there have been many different characters kind of leading Torchwood there, of Gwen Cooper, Captain Jack, and of course Yvonne Harkness have led unit since that, and it has been revealed that they are even operating in 2060, so Torchwood should be up and running, but no reference of them. Also, are Rani, Luke, and Clyde continuing Sarah Jane's work? Like, are they still saving the world with Mr. Smith and K9? And also, where's Skye? Skye is the kind of adopted daughter of Sarah Jane, and she was in the Sarah Jane Adventures final series, but there was no mention of her. Rani didn't mention her. She mentioned Luke and Clyde and even Martha and Joe, but she didn't mention Skye? So where's Skye? And also, speaking of where were people, where were Yaz and Dan? The Doctor never mentioned them, at least by name. She said that she needed to check on her friends at the end of Salvation, but she said that it was her friends that were defending the Earth. So that is probably linking to Rani and Unit and Torchwood, but not Yaz and Dan, because they're travelling with her in the TARDIS. So, where are Yaz and Dan? Are they trapped somewhere? Did she just drop them off at home? Did they get redacted and they weren't even mentioned? I mean, come on, where were they? But with that being said, I still think Doctor Who Redacted is great, with lots of callbacks and references to Doctor Who. However, it does have some problems with some loose ends not being tied up, and the problems of being too progressive, but then the main Doctor is the 10th Doctor, so it's like they went super one way and then super the other way. Again, I don't have a problem with the main character being an all-female cast. I think it is great, and again, I don't have a problem with the Doctor being the 10th Doctor. I just think it's weird to have two tonally opposite things in this series, but again, it's up to the writers, and I still think with the good story and the interesting character, it more than makes up for the problems in this series. But that is just what I think of Doctor Who Redacted. Let me know down in the comments below if you like Doctor Who Redacted, or if you think there should have been something different with it. But if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Also leave a like and share it out. And I will see you in the next one.